We finally got more information on Acheron's kit, and it's looking pretty damn tasty. I want to not only go over her kit like everyone else, but also make this a preliminary guide based on the current information we have, so you can more quickly be ready to let her dig her heels into you. Now let's start by dissecting her talent and why this transforms her into the most unique character to date. I wish she would date me.
In your dreams.
Acheron's talent revolves around giving flowers to the soon-to-be-dead enemies. They start with 0 flowers, and she does not gain any energy or use any energy. Sorry, Tingyun, Ho-Ho, and future batteries. Acheron generates energy from the misery of your enemies.
What the fuck is this world? What have they done to us?
Her normal attack generates 1 flower and attacks a single enemy. Her skill does blast damage, hitting the main target and 2 adjacent enemies, and generating 2 flowers. When an enemy dies, their flowers are transferred to the enemy with the most flowers. Due to the generosity of the recently departed, reaching the 9 flowers needed to use her ultimate becomes much more reasonable. Currently, 9 flowers appears to be the cap she needs to reach to perform her absolutely nasty ultimate attack. But before we get to that, we got to talk about how this emanator of death and misery enjoys the suffering of your enemies.
Oh, hell yeah!
When an enemy receives a debuff, even from themselves, Acheron generates 1 flower once per action. This makes the misery spreaders, aka the nihility path, become Acheron's batteries. It is always important to remember that DOTs count as a debuff, so a character like Black Swan who applies Arcana when enemies appear will also generate 1 flower. This synergy is further stressed with her Ascension 4 passive. It rewards you for each nihility character in your party, excluding Acheron herself, but capping at 2. So at E0, Acheron will heavily desire 2 nihility supports. Most players will likely default to Pela and Silverwolf, but I would like to give these enemies a swan song personally, but for now, we'll move on. Her Ascension 2 passive generates flowers on the highest ranking enemy. No value is given at the moment, but it says flowers, so the minimum I imagine it to be is 2, and the most I could see it to be is 3. This helps you get the ultimate that I'm slowly building the anticipation for.
Today, Junior?
The ultimate's really fucking sick. This Ascension helps reduce the initial ramp up time required to reach the desired ult by at least 1 turn for Acheron. Her A6 gives her a damage buff when consuming flowers during the ult for a certain amount of turns. We need more information to truly gauge the value of this, but depending on this value and other damage percent bonuses, she is likely a character who could suffer diminishing returns of damage percent. So an attack percent orb or a lightning damage percent orb is looking close to each other in value based on what I'm seeing in her kit at this moment. Now, let's get to what you've been waiting for. That sweet, sweet ultimate. Psych! I still haven't told you her technique yet. Don't worry, I'll get to that juicy ult after this.
For the love of God! Please!
Her technique generates flowers to the highest ranking enemy. The amount is likely 2 or 3. Then she does an AoE attack on all enemies. If this kills them, congrats! You now get to move on to the next enemy.
Nice.
I could see this potentially being insane in Simulated Universe. Okay. Is there anything else before I get to the ultimate? Oh yeah, there's this. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. Alright, let's get to the ultimate now.
It's about damn time.
Now this ultimate has to be the undisputed best ultimate in the game, hands down. Living up to the legacy of Raiden for sure. I didn't want to even talk about her kit when I saw the details last because I felt we were missing too much info to get a proper read on her. I'm glad I did because I now believe this character is the new queen DPS of this game.
Look, my brother, the win.
Okay, let's get into it so you know that she owns the rest of your Stellar Jades.
I have no money.
Her ultimate reduces the damage resistance of all enemies during the duration of the ult, and all attacks performed during this ult will ignore all weakness types.
Oh my God.
Okay, let's stop here for a second. If this works exactly as it reads, this means any of your characters can interrupt during the ultimate to capitalize on these bonuses. So imagine you use Acheron's ult, then before she starts her attacks, you use another character's ultimate, like Black Swan. The ultimate should get to take advantage of these bonuses as well. Even better, if you interrupted the boss with Acheron, that means Swan's buff for the damage an enemy receives on their turn will also be triggered by coming attacks from Acheron. Yes, you heard me correct. Attacks plural. Acheron will not perform 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 attacks with her ultimate.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
The first 3 attacks consume 3 flowers each. A 2-hit attack blast, followed by a 3-hit attack blast, then a 1-hit attack blast, and finally a 2-hit attack against all enemies. If the max flowers you can have is truly 9, this will always leave you with 0 flowers after it is finished. We don't have any multipliers for this ultimate, but since everything is building up to performing this attack, it is safe to assume this is Acheron's bread and butter. When we get to the Eidolons, her E6 even says basic attack and skill will be considered an ultimate attack. Without more details about what this means exactly, we already know that them being considered ultimate attacks is preferable, and thus we can conclude the ultimate is obviously everything for this character. Speaking of Eidolons, her E2, like Raiden before her, seems to be the best stopping point for those of us who just can't help ourselves simping for this fucking goddess.
Dear God, it's beautiful.
It reduces the requirement of the Ascension 4 passive by 1, so you only need 1 Nihility character with her to get its full benefits. This opens up a slot to put in a Harmony unit or whatever else you desire. The Eidolon also makes it to where she gains a flower at the start of her turns. This further solidifies how important it will be to get her more turns. So now, every turn, you can get her 2 to 3 flowers instead of 1 to 2. So 3 skills, she will hit 9 flowers and be able to ult. You can also go something like 2 skills and a basic and 1 debuff application to reach 9. 3 per skill, 2 for the basic, and 1 from a debuff application. You can also use a skill for 3 flowers, 1 basic for 2, and 4 separate debuff applications to reach 9. But we are stretching it at this point. I could go on, but I think this is enough information on this Eidolon at this current moment. Her other Eidolons, without more information, we can't really judge the true value of. That said, her E1 giving attack percent and crit rate every time an enemy receives debuffs, up to a certain amount for the entire fight, seems like a great stepping stone to get to E2.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Her E4 applies a debuff to all enemies at the start of her ult, increasing the damage they take. This sounds good, but the value outside of being another debuff application, we can't judge without knowing the percent value. Her E6 is in a similar position. Giving crit damage is always good, but how good depends on the amount, and converting her basic attacks and skills into ultimate attacks is pretty vague and could mean a variety of things. So overall, this character looks incredible on paper. I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with for this character. That said, I am confident in some aspects and will give a basic guide for this character so you can start preparing now.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
So for trace materials, it's safe to assume it will be the same as Black Swan. So 18 fiery spirits, 69 Starfire Essence and 139 Heaven Incinerators will be what you need prepared for her. Light Cones? Besides her signature, you have All Reliable, aka Good Night and Sleep Well. She already wants debuffs and can apply some herself, so this Light Cone should always have the max damage bonus it can provide. Now for 5-star options, those who were patient enough to reach this point in this video know that patience is all you truly need.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It gives damage bonus, gives speed, and provides a debuff in the form of a DOT called Erode. Acheron's kit desires as many turns as possible, so the more speed, the better.
I'm so fast, you couldn't even comprehend how fast I am.
God damn it!
Now, Erode not only brings damage in the form of a DOT, but it also can synergize with someone like Black Swan, especially if you have Black Swan at E1. This would provide a lightning resistance shred of 25%. We all know, however, her signature will be her best option without a doubt. I would expect it to bring more damage in the form of crit, perhaps a debuff for enemies, and most importantly, speed or an action advance of some kind.
Gotta go fast.
Acheron needs as many turns as she can get. The E2 opens the doors for units like Bronya and Sparkle to give her more turns, along with cones like Dance Dance Dance. Pushing her up is very important for her kit. So, with all that said, it seems like a good time to dive into some dead waters for her relics. Acheron likes to bathe in the dead.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way.
So it's no wonder that the Pioneer Diver of Dead Water set is her best set. It rewards you for debuffing enemies, and she herself also applies debuffs to get the full effect of the 4-piece set bonus. What's less clear is what her best planar set would be. The two clear winners for me are Inert Salsodo and the Firmament Frontline Glamoth. Salsodo increases ultimate damage by 15%, and she seems to do the majority of her big PP damage from her ultimate, so it's a no-brainer that it would be good on her. Glamoth can give 12 to 18% more damage bonus for reaching 135 speed or 160 speed. Acheron already wants a lot of speed, so this naturally will be synergistic with her. So whichever set you have good rolls for should work great on her. So what relic stats are you looking for? Crit rate / crit damage body, speed boots, lightning damage or attack percent orb, and an attack percent rope. Luckily, we know ER rope is complete shit on Acheron, so it makes rope selection more straightforward.
I'm not a stupid fucking idiot.
Substats, speed until at least 135 if using Glamoth, but hopefully 160 for the higher bonus. If not, I'd still try to aim for 155 speed if possible, but at least 135 speed minimum. Then crit rate and crit damage next would be the most important stats to acquire. Any attack percent or defense stats in addition will be nice to have if possible for the last slot. Now, who do we pair with our leading lady at E0? Well, the first two characters that come to mind are Pela and Silverwolf. They satisfy the nihility requirements and provide some nice defense shred. You can also go Kafka and Swan, but you will need to know what you are doing to play this team optimal. Luckily, Swan is pretty SP positive, so she isn't too difficult to stay SP positive with. The free-to-play option for two nihility units is likely Gweniphen and Pela. Both have been given for free or been on multiple banners by this point, and both can play skill point positive and buff Acheron's damage while providing lots of debuffs. Sustains, you can go ahead and throw wonk wonk into the dumpster for Acheron.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Her ultimate energy is wasted on Acheron, so go ahead and cry on another team, Chica. Aventurine actually looks to have the most synergy with Acheron based on his current kit applying debuffs to enemies and giving a crit damage increase in the form of a debuff. Now, getting him after she takes all your jades is another story entirely.
You're wrong! You're fucking poor!
Still, he seems to be made to be appealing for her team. Luocha is pretty SP positive, so he is never a bad option, but if you were crazy and went deep into his Eidolons, like you want to go deep into Acheron,
Hey, Chicka-Bum-Bum. Caboose, what did I tell you about that? Sorry.
his E4 and his E6 provide some debuffs, which can give him more synergy with Acheron. Fushuan with her crit rate buff, and if you got her E1 to get the crit damage buff, is pretty solid, but since she doesn't bring any debuffs like Aventurine, I don't see you using her unless you don't have Aventurine. So let's wrap things up. I hope this pre-release guide helps you get ready for your new favorite waifu. Acheron seems like a character who will rise to the top of the meta the moment she releases and hold her value for a good while. That said, my biggest concerns with her are how she'll feel to play at E0 and potentially how easy it is to get her flowers in a mode like
Pure fiction.
Remember that your units going sooner in general to apply more debuffs will also give Acheron more flowers. So Ruan Mei and Asta, which I didn't mention earlier, but the speed in some scenarios could really pay dividends. So Acheron's best support may not even exist yet in reality. So keep an eye out on future versions for better units for her. Thanks for watching the video. This took me forever to write out and record. Leave a comment on why you want Acheron to step on you.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
And use your free hand to smash the like and subscribe button to show me you want more of this content.
How you doing?
Now, I'm going to impatiently wait for our queen to arrive so my dreams don't remain dreams. See ya, Trailblazers.